Hey guys, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes real quick to explain what I think a stakeholder is and how it's going to work within our projects. Kind of give an example of how to figure out how to identify stakeholders and stuff like that so you can get the homework done for Wednesday. And so, for basic definition of a stakeholder is someone that's impacted and or affected by your issue directly. And so, for example, say your topic is air pollution. And so some of your stakeholders might include the companies who are contributing to this pollution, the government, the people who are breathing this air, etc. And so you're going to have different things that are included under this umbrella of the definition of a stakeholder. And so from there we can break it down into two separate types of stakeholders that we're going to be looking at. And so you have an active stakeholder and a silent stakeholder. Both are going to have to be included when thinking about your issue. So an active stakeholder can best be defined as a stakeholder who's directly affected by your issue and that has a voice to defend their stance on the issue. And so there's a direct impact and they have a voice to stand up for themselves. And so in the air pollution scenario, we are looking at the companies who are contributing to the pollution, the government, scientists, adults who are breathing in this air, people who are working at these companies. Those would be active stakeholders because they very much can voice their own opinions about what they're going through and how they're being impacted by air pollution. And so silent stakeholders, on the contrary, can be best viewed as somebody who is directly affected by your issue but does not have the voice to speak up for themselves. And so within this example, we can look at children, we can look at animals, we can look at habitats, the trees, how's the wildlife around the area of where this pollution is happening, how is that being affected? Different things like that can file under this topic of, or in this category of a silent stakeholder. And so to keep them separated is definitely important because they have implications behind their abilities based on which category you stick them under. And so keep that in mind as we go forward, and start thinking about your topic as well. And so there's usually an activity I do in class where we kind of think of a scenario and try to think of the many different stakeholders that are affected by these issues, and then kind of work through which ones would be active, which ones would be silent. And so I kind of want to do the same thing. It's just going to be you pretty much thinking about it, me talking to the camera, and then you just kind of taking a second to think about it. And so consider this. Here's the situation. Alright, so here's the scenario. Everybody's in a different town right now, and so I want you to think about your individual town. You just saw on social media somewhere that there is a herd or a pack of dragons, some sort of group of dragons coming directly to your hometown. And they're going to be there within the next hour. So that's the scenario. And so I want you to try and take a second to think of the different stakeholders that would be impacted by this situation. Take a second to write down or think of 5 different stakeholders. And then from there, just the first 5 off of the top of your head. I'm going to stop for like 10 seconds. And then out of these 5, how many of them are silent? And if not, who could you consider a silent stakeholder in this? So take about 10 seconds to think about that to yourself. Alright, so out of your 5, you should have some that are silent. If not, try to think of somebody who are silent. My list looks a little something like this. It's something real quick that I just threw together. And so, my active stakeholders would be the government, the people who are supposed to be protecting us as citizens. Parents, people that are going to be worried about their families. The military, they're probably going to come in and try and see if we have some sort of weaponry that we can defend ourselves against these dragons. Scientists are probably going to come in and advocate for the dragons so that we can study them and figure out if there's any resources from them that we can gather. PETA might be an active stakeholder. They might come and say, no, don't kill the dragons, they're animals, and They might try to make an argument for that. And some silent stakeholders I have would be children. Definitely children who probably would be like, "Oh my god, that's badass! There's a dragon flying in the air," but in reality, that's fucking terrifying. And animals who would more than likely be in the taking on the role of prey in this scenario, um, and so they don't have any sort of opportunity to stand up for themselves or kind of voice their opinion on it, and so that's why they would be considered a silent stakeholder. And so, if you have any questions on this, shoot me an email and let me know. Use this information to kind of think about your topic and get ready for the discussion post that's due Wednesday by midnight. You should take or try to think of 3 to 5 different stakeholders for your topic individually, and then by Friday respond to 2 different classmates as well. Be looking out for the next video that will be talking about summaries, quotations, paraphrasing, and how we can evaluate a source so that we can get you ready for the homework for Friday. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email and let me know. Have a good week, guys. Thank you.